to my channel. In this video, I'll be showing you how to make a watermelon skirt. Like, I've seen this on my Instagram feed several times. I was like, I have to make this. To make this skirt, I bought white cotton fabric, so I dyed it and made the skirt itself. If you like, you can get a white cotton fabric skirt already made and just dye it the way I showed in this video. But if you want to start from scratch and make it all your own, this is the tutorial for you. I just want to give a little warning because when I dyed this skirt, I first started using the powder dye by Rit, and it was like, it wasn't that good. I don't know if I was doing something wrong, but I followed the instructions exactly what it said, and you know, it was just, it didn't come out how I would like it to be. I used boiling water to melt, like to dissolve the dye and the salt, and it just would not dissolve. Not only did it come out blotchy, but like even after I rinsed it and dried it, it was really faded looking, like the colors were not vibrant at all. I decided to get the liquid dye and try that out, and it was way better, oh my word. To make this skirt, I highly recommend using the liquid dye instead of the powder. Here you're gonna learn how to make a lap zipper, and it's gonna have a closure and has a waistband that you make, and you're gonna learn how to like do these little ruffly thingies. So if you want to step it up a level from the easy skirt tutorial, this is definitely a good way to learn how to make another version of a skirt. Obviously, you don't have to make this a watermelon skirt to make this type of skirt. You can get any fabric and make it the same way. Let's get the tutorial started. You will need the following materials. Measure the part on your waist where you would like the skirt to lay. If you want the width of your waistband 1.5 inches, you can use the same measurements except the length, since that's according to your size. Multiply your desired width, so 1.5 inches times 2 inches, since it will be folded, equals 3 inches, plus a 1/4 inch seam allowance for both ends, equaling 1/2 inch of seam allowance. For the length, your waist measurement plus 1 inch for the closure, plus 1/2 inch of seam allowance. Cut out the measurements for the waistband. Figure out the length of the skirt you want it to be. As for the width, the longer the fuller. Mark your fabric so you know where to dye the different parts. This will just be used as a guideline, it doesn't have to be exactly. Here I'm marking 4 inches for the green, 3 inches for the white, and the rest pink. As you see here, I started using the powder, but I highly recommend using the liquid dye since it worked a lot better. Try and create a grading effect by starting off with the dye potent and then adding more water to make it lighter. Make sure when you're dyeing the fabric you don't get the pink on the green and vice versa. Make sure to keep the white visible so it represents the grind on the watermelon. Leave the fabric in the dye for about 30 minutes. Rinse the fabric in cold water till it runs clear. Here's how it looks after using the powdered dye. After using the pink liquid dye, I decided to show you how it looks with the green liquid dye. Doesn't that look a lot better? After washing and drying it, iron it so you have some nice wrinkle-free fabric to work with. Take the black paint and a small brush and draw teardrop shapes to represent the watermelon seeds. Draw them about the size of your thumbnail. After the paint is dried, place your two fabrics right sides together and sew with 1/2 inch of seam allowance. This seam will be on my right side and my left side will have the zipper. At the top of the fabric, sew a base stitch with 1/2 inch of seam allowance. This stitch is what's going to make the ruffling effect, so make sure to leave long tails. Pull the top thread evenly till it equals your waist measurement plus 1 1/4 inch seam allowance. Make sure to only pull one thread, not both threads. Then place them right sides together and sew with 1 1/4 inch seam allowance. This is the side that will have your zipper. Place the zipper on the side and mark where the zipper stopper will stop. From where the zipper will be opening, you'll be sewing a base stitch, and then at the zipper stopper, you'll backstitch and then continue with the regular stitch down. Iron the way you sewed and then press open the seam allowance. Pull the left side of the seam allowance to the side and place the zipper face down. Do this if your zipper is on your left side of your body. If it's on the right of your body, sew the zipper on the right side of the seam allowance. Remember only to sew the left side of the seam allowance with the tape of the zipper. If you want a detailed tutorial on how to sew a lap zipper, I did a Sewing 101 episode on how to sew a lap zipper, so check out the link in the description or an annotation on the screen. Now top stitch the little seam that's showing on the side. Now pull over the other side of the seam allowance and make sure it covers the zipper. Lay it all flat and sew an L shape. Make sure to sew through all the layers. Use a seam ripper to remove the base stitch. Add some interfacing to the wrong side of the waistband. Then place the right side of the waistband with the wrong side of the skirt. Make sure to leave 1 1/4 inches out for the front closure. At the other end of the waistband, you should have 1/4 inch of seam allowance out. Sew using a regular straight stitch. Press open the waistband. Then fold the top seam allowance with the 1/4 inch and then fold it in half. Fold the ends of the waistband's right sides together and sew with the 1/4 inch seam allowance. Now you can sew the whole waistband with the 1/4 inch seam allowance. Press the hem down with the 1/2 inch seam allowance. Then sew with the 1/4 inch seam allowance. Use a skirt clasp to close the waistband. Put on the skirt and put a pin on where you want the waistband to lay. Place the large clasp on the little flap at the top corner but not too close to the edge. Use a needle and thread to sew a whip stitch around the little holes. Make sure to sew through only 1 layer of the fabric. Tuck the thread under to go through the next hole. When you're done, tie your knots and then tuck in the thread to leave a tail. This will prevent the stitch from coming undone over time. Place the little clasp inside the big clasp to figure out where to place the small clasp. After finding the placement, sew it the same way. And now you're done making a cute watermelon skirt. This video, thumbs it up if you enjoyed it. If you know someone who loves watermelon just like me, this video will be added to a watermelon DIY playlist. So I've also made other watermelon things like a watermelon vinyl purse. I made a duct tape watermelon clutch, and I made this skirt. Oh, and I made a watermelon dress. So I think that's enough videos to make it into a playlist. I'll have the link of the playlist in the description so you can share it to your friends. I want to thank my friend Inez for helping me film the intro. We went to Noe Valley to find some cool little places to shoot at, so thank you, Inez. Just in case you didn't know, I also started a vlog channel, so I'll link that in the description. I have a couple vlogs already, so check them out and subscribe if you like to watch more vlogs. If you'd like to follow me on my other social medias, you can follow me at Crafty Amy on Instagram, Crafty Amy 93 on Snapchat and Facebook. If you haven't already, subscribe, and thank you so much for watching.